We'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast was produced, the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present.
It's 2022 and 21-year-old Nedd Brockmann is noticing he's gained a little weight since he's moved from his hometown in central New South Wales to Sydney. The long hours working as an electrician and the weekends spent partying are taking their toll. So he does what most of us would do. He goes on a health kick. Specifically, he starts running. He does a 3K, then a 5, then a 10, even a half marathon. He's hooked. He loves the way it makes him feel. Nedd keeps running long after he ditches the few kilos that first motivated him. Within a year, he'll do a 100k run, 50 marathons in 50 days, and raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity. It's this drive that's likely why you know his name. In 2023, it was everywhere when he ran almost 4,000 kilometres from Perth to Bondi Beach in just over 46 days and raised $2.6 million for charity. I'm at Middleton, and this is Head Game. Today, how a 23-year-old tradie ran into his life's purpose. Nedd Brockmann, thanks ever so much for joining me on my Head Game podcast. You're a 25-year-old young man, and you've put some miles on those legs of yours. Now, talk me through when you first thought it was a good idea to start running. Why did you start running, and where did that come about?
Yeah, it's not a Forrest Gump like journey.
Are you
like
sure?
Some people say.
Are you sure?
Are you the next Forrest Gump? No, I appreciate you having me on, mate. It's an honour to be in the same room as you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, my journey. I had a great childhood. My upbringing was one of I would say privilege. I'm very privileged in that, a lot of the world is not privileged in that, I have access to things a lot of people don't. And so my upbringing was great. I had two very loving, caring parents that nurtured me, wanted me to be a resilient, empathetic human being. It was never about them wanting us to be friends with them. It was more like, I'm your parent. This is
role models.
Exactly.
Yeah, guidance.
Not
love.
like talk the talk, but walk the walk.
Yeah.
That's why I struggle with podcasts a bit because I lean on my what I do as opposed to what I say.
Yeah.
And that's very much what my father, I guess, instilled in us, and as well my mum is. She was the disciplinarian.
They always are, mate.
Yeah.
The mums always are.
Yeah, she was definitely the tough one. But yeah, I was nurtured. But mate, we had. Dad's a cattle farmer, brought up, he left school at 14 and a half. Mum, she's incredible. She's a PT, she's an accountant, she does a lot of that stuff. But we were on farmland, just rough country kids, got, our two rules were make sure you're home before dark, and if I don't come crying or complaining unless you're broken or bleeding. They were like our two rules.
Love that, mate.
Yeah, so
don't
we would
come complaining unless you're broken or bleeding.
Literally. So I would rock up to the door with a, eye just pissing out blood or broken arms, blood.
Bumps and bruises everywhere.
Whatever off the motorbike, whatever it may be. I took that quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely an active kid, and I gave it my all at school. I loved, I was never good enough at I wasn't a praised athlete, or I wasn't someone who was always going to be in the schoolboy rugby team. It was here's the carrot, chase it, go hard, but good luck ever getting in the top boat or top team or whatever.
Yeah.
And I reckon that was a big, thing for me, chip on my shoulder, sure.
Oh, so that was actually quite a...
Yeah, a bit of why am I not getting there? And I knew it would break at some point. I knew that, whenever it would be in your life, if you just keep showing up, I think that's one fundamental thing a lot of people miss is if you just show up, you either get it done. Yeah, just show up. Just keep showing up. It's the title of my book, Showing Up, because it's literally all about showing up.
Yeah.
And... yeah, I guess there's always been that person in me. It's I always want to go hell bent at whatever it is, but whatever that avenue is, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And so, through COVID, I kind of put the health and well-being to the side and started doing, put the Sparky thing at front and center.
Nedd, just take me back there. Did you wake up one morning, boom, did it happen there and then, or was it a slow progression?
I think it was almost both. So it was do something about this, but then it was gradual winning. And then I was just so I I went out and like start running to move, and I'm like, I'm all right at this.
Have you ever ran before?
My furthest I'd ever run prior to that was 3K at cross country at school.
Wow, so something ignited inside you.
Yeah, and I just started like almost winning, like just my own self, and that's what it's always been for me. It's always been about you versus you. Never like I don't enter events. I don't enter races. I do my own thing.
Yeah.
Like the only 2 things I've ever entered are 2 things that I was an ambassador for. That was it.
Yeah.
So I don't enter them to race people. I don't enter. It's like I'm doing this because I want to
challenging yourself. Yeah. Competing against yourself ultimately.
100%. Because
huge.
you're the only person that's going to wake you up in the morning. You're the only person that's going to get you through that time. It's like I don't need other people to egg me onto a race.
Yeah. Your first run when you go, it's 3 kilometers.
Yeah.
And talk me through that first run. Did you walk? Did you jog? What happened?
So I was at the top of a hill where I lived in
Yeah.
Coogee. And I ran down, old shoes, probably like 4-year-old shoes, could feel the bitumen in them. Bolted down, and I was like, oh, this will be good. And I remember turning around going, oh, no, here we go. But I was like, you got to get 3K done because you said you can get 3K done.
Right.
Got the 3K done. I was like, great, this is slow as ever. And then the second, like 2 days later, 5K. 2 days later, 7. And I don't know the exact distances, but that was pretty well how it went.
That's phenomenal though. And the reason why I mentioned that first run, because it starts somewhere, right? Everyone needs to start somewhere, and everyone needs, when people think about running, they think, oh, they've got to, cover this amount in this certain amount of time. As long as I don't walk, you're going to walk, you're going to break it down. You're going to, and that demotivates people, and they go, running's not for me. And it's like, no, that's just an excuse that you're using.
Of course.
So that's why I mentioned the first one, 3K.
Yeah.
You're down a hill, you're done already, you're done. And then it just gradually mounts.
It did. And I think that's like the whole premise around why I do what I do. It's like the more you can layer on these wins, right? It just becomes this huge win. And
small incremental wins,
yeah,
right? Like you said,
small goals. And all of a sudden you've just ticked off your first ever half marathon. You've lost 5 kilos. The weight loss is a byproduct of feeling good all the time. Then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, well, people run marathons. Let's try that. So I ran 42K. And this is in a space of about 3 months.
So within 3 months, you've gone from running 3K, upping it, to doing a half marathon, and then thinking a full marathon.
Yeah. And so I finished that, and I remember going like, oh, people run like 60, 80, 100Ks. That's cool. We'll try that. And I think the naivety was quite a good thing for me.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, and the other thing is like, people have done these things. Why can't I do it? It's never like they must be genetically this or something of this. It's like, why not me?
I'm laughing because that's exactly how I think. I think if someone's done it before, then I can do it.
Anything. I put up on my Instagram story last night one of the meditations from Marcus Aurelius, and talks about what it's basically just saying, why is it that if something is attainable by one person, we instantly go, oh, it's impossible for me. Why not, if it is like the ivory, the shoulders of ivory? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, it is, you are absolutely capable of it if someone is capable of it. We are all capable of it, as long as you're willing to make the decision that is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And there is no other option.
Yeah, because once you commit, you're in, right?
Yeah.
And it's once you're in, it's actually harder to get out than finish what you're doing.
Big time.
If you just commit to something, like you say, commit kilometre at a time, then 5 kilometres at a time, then 10 kilometres. Like you say, you've done the 3 kilometres. You go, right, let me break this down to maybe, if you're doing 15K, 3Ks. It's in your head. You break it down like that.
And I was actually listening to your podcast with the boys in the Beaconsfield mine.
Yeah.
With Todd is his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
But I talk about the like when I do a lot of keynote speaking, I talk about like the thrown at sea analogy, right? Like you get thrown out. Your only option is to get back to the shore, and you have to swim to get there. Otherwise you drown.
Yeah.
Like there is no other option, right? Same thing with those, like him. It was like, our option is to get out of this. How are we going to do it? We're going to survive. And it's like, you have to get to that point in anything.
I always say that to people, when you put yourself in a situation where you leave yourself with one option and, going back to do or die, you'll be absolutely, baffled at what you can achieve. Because you'll be like, wow, because ultimately in life we give ourselves multiple options, don't we? Mm-hmm. And we normally, jump around here, jump around there, and it almost makes life too easy. But when you leave yourself with one option, which a lot of people are petrified to do, the fear of doing that stops them from committing.
100%.
When you put yourself there, you achieve amazing things.
Your army background would have had like that. That's something I can imagine.
Exactly.
And I can't even imagine what that's like. But I know that when you're in that, it's like, this is our only option. It's a battle, or it's
100%.
You know what I mean? You can't, and when you live your life like that, it's like
it becomes the norm.
Oh
right?
my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you, I don't know, if you get the shits with people who go, it's a bit hard, just throw in the towel. Because we're so comfortable. Like, everything's so easy. Like, that's one of my other things. I love that get comfortable being uncomfortable saying, because so many people do not want to sit in that discomfort.
There's no growth in comfort.
No.
That's what I say. There's no growth in comfort.
Yeah.
So you hit your first marathon. How do you feel after your first marathon? And do you
we set the goal. A mate of mine and I went, well, let's go do this 42K. We were like, I want to do an under 5 minute pace. I want to get to Palm Beach. So we ran from Randwick to Palm Beach, which is basically 42K, over hills, and we got it in 4:57 pace. So righto. Nice. And I remember about 2 months later, I was like, I'm going to try this 60K. Ran 60K from my farm into town, which is exactly the distance from where my farm is to the nearest town.
And this is all whilst you're working, right?
Yeah, pretty well. And like, because COVID, there was a bit of like time off and all that. And then within, and a month of that, ran 80K. Within 2 weeks of that, ran 100K. And I was like, what? Like, I got to do something more. I don't want to just keep running single distances.
So the 100K club is a big club to be part of, right?
Yeah.
So do you not think, wow, that's a pretty phenomenal achievement?
Yeah, I did, but it was like, okay, win. And I felt like the longer it took me to achieve the thing, the more pure and human I felt, the more like bliss and more all those feelings you never feel in the mundane.
So a quick one, from the first 3K that you've done, how long after did you achieve the 100K?
August, so March till August.
Were you obsessed with running?
No, I was obsessed with the feeling that it gave me. I again, hate it.
Yeah.
Don't like it. And that's why.
So you're obsessed with the feeling it gave you. And what feeling did it give you?
It's almost primal. It's almost there's no
it's
more.
Most basic movement, isn't it? I know exactly what you mean.
And then achieving something and you've got nothing else in your mind.
Yeah.
All this trivial shit like driving your
car
car and people not smiling at you or whatever it may be. It's like bring it back to being just a
on your feet.
Yeah.
Your primary mode of transport is on you.
And so
use it.
And you've picked a distance or a time or a place or whatever that you're going to do, and you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, well, I've got to up it. At least that's just the evolution of life.
It's like writing your story.
You absolutely should.
You want to be known for who you were or for who you are. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's why it's in the moment.
Live for a movement, not a moment. So like keep moving.
Live for movement, not
a moment. So don't live in this moment. Live for what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I ran across Australia, 7 days later I was thinking about the next thing.
Wow. So you do your 100K and then what goes through your head?
That next morning, I wake up. So I've finished work that afternoon, couldn't sleep. Tried to have a nap that afternoon, so I would have finished about 3:30. Got home, tried to sleep, started at 7 o'clock that night. Ran through the darkness, got back about 8 a.m., finished that 100K. I'm lying in bed, couldn't sleep, and I heard someone had run 50 marathons in 50 days. I went, I'm doing that. I'm going to work at the same time.
Where did you get that idea from?
I heard someone had done it. I was searching up all these people doing all these things because I was like, what's next?
So a marathon a day for 50 days.
So 42K a day. Back to back. And that person who I had seen was just traveling and doing them. And I was like, I'm going to work at the same time. I'm going to work 8 hours a day. I'm going to do it at the same time because no one's done that. Let's do it.
So do you run in the mornings? After work?
So my work day would start at 6:30.
Yeah.
And so I'd be up at 5:30. I'd creak out of bed, go work for 8 hours on the tools, and then I'd finish about 3:30 in the afternoon. 4 o'clock, I'd have the shoes on, go run 42K, go again. I gave myself a month's training period from when I finished that 100K to starting that.
So, and what does that training period look like?
Getting the head around it, because you can't train the body to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to get your head right. The hardest thing in my life at that point, not the hardest thing, but the most nervous I'd ever been up until this point in my life, when I did this, when I said, posted on Instagram and said, I'm doing this, because I'm a person of my word, and if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So posting it out, making yourself accountable to however many people were there, it was like, we're on.
And are you, at this stage, when you decide to take on the 50 marathons in 50 days, are you just figuring it out on the move, or are you studying this stuff?
Nah, I'm the best thing I think you can do is learn.
Trial and error.
Yep.
Trial and error.
Doing it.
Yeah,
because
that's how I learn.
You will never do something because you'll always have contradicting beliefs. You'll have people telling you this. I know people who listen to podcasts for 8 hours a day. They're just trying to learn. I'm like, why are you not just doing?
Yeah.
Go and do. Just be. And, not telling people to not listen to podcasts, but I'm saying like, listen to it, use it as fuel, but then go and learn yourself. Go and do it yourself because that's how you're going to find out.
Trial and error, right?
You can be, there is definitely elements of learning and taking that on, but I think the more you just throw yourself in the fire, it's like, well, this is what works for me.
And that's why I asked, because you say you had a month of training. What did that training look like? Just break that training down. So
I'd never back-to-back anything, right? Like I'd never back-to-back a marathon, let alone a half marathon. So I did my first half marathon, then half marathon the next day, back-to-back. And I was like, yeah, should be all right. Just double that in 50 more days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, double that.
Yeah.
49 more days, I'll be all right, good to go.
But it's funny how you do start to compartmentalize when you have this enormity. Like you actually just all of a sudden do start taking small bites. I just honestly, and I say it very naively, in that I was just selling it to myself that I could do it. Just making that belief happen. And prior to that, for the last 6 months,
100%.
I had been true to my word and doing what I said I was going to do. So by the time I got to that point, it was just a matter of getting the days done. And some days out there when I did do the 50 marathon, so I would work and it would take me, be drained 8 hours a day on my feet and then go and have to run 42K. Some days were 5 hour marathons, some days were 3.5,
Mm-hmm,
but when I finished that over the 50-day period, when you attain something over a 50-day period, like it wasn't that I finished the 50th. I ran my 50th in 2:53. The joy wasn't in finishing it. It was like, you just fucking did all of that.
Yeah.
And you said you were going to do it. And you're like now like done.
Were you in any physical, psychological and emotional pain during the 50-50s? This is whilst you're working, let's not forget.
Yeah. I reckon I had a bit of undiagnosed trauma throughout that, but
Was it a way of treating that? Was running? Do you think it?
No,
I'm
not
therapeutic. As in,
I'm not running away from anything.
No. But was it? Did it just give you freedom to
I run to bring it on.
Yeah,
like I run to bring on the mental.
You do.
Yeah. Like
you
I don't run to clear the head. I run to like fill the head.
Got you.
Like
that's interesting.
Yeah, I want to feel those things. I just want to. And I don't want to sound like, I'm lucky I get to do this. And I've also envisioned my life being like this, right? Like I've pictured 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I wrote a journal 5 years ago. It's like be able to use running as a forms to make a career out of. Not that I want to be an elite runner. I just want to be able to use it to do
as
this.
a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm now at a point where, I'm every 2 years going to create an event that I do that fingers crossed off the back of it can get Aussies to move and do things. And like I'm now literally shaping this life the way I'd planned. So it's like, it's not necessarily like, I want to be this runner guy. I just want to use it to make the change I want to do.
Self-fulfillment, basically. Yeah. The purpose of running is for self-fulfillment, right? Do you want to just feel alive? You want to feel,
You know what? If I remove myself from it all, it's like I want to live each day to the fullest, right? I want to just make the most, wring that towel, just squeeze it dry.
Every drop.
Yeah, every last bit. And when I don't, I feel I've just like almost wasted it, right? And then I want to give, so live and give. So I want to give because I know the more you give without wanting anything in return, you just spread this good energy, right? Like
100%.
You give your smile, give your seat up, go buy someone a coffee.
That's all we've got is to give back, give
Moments
our energy. Exactly. Financial things, materialistical things, they come and go. But what you give someone, how you make someone feel.
Absolutely.
Is, even that little hope of inspiration, that little bit of hope, that little bit of positivity, like you said, a smile.
Yeah.
All for that. And that's what I do. I give back, give back, and give back. So that is your purpose.
Live, give, and get uncomfortable.
Wow.
Yeah. And even walking through here, like I'll see people at their desk and they go, "How you going? I've never been better, mate. How are you?"
Yeah.
And they're just like, "What the hell? Didn't expect that." Yeah. And it's like, it might be like, "Oh yeah, actually, no, I'm good."
Yeah,
and it might be that it's like all of a sudden they give it to them. And you just, you are what you say you are, you're believing in it. And so they're the things I probably live by. They're my priorities in life is to live, give, and get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They're it.
Yeah.
And so I don't lean on that to get me through things. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And these things are the part that give me the uncomfortable part.
Yeah.
They give me the living part, and they give me the giving part.
Yeah.
So the running is like, I make the decision and I'm doing it.
You're doing it, yeah. Yeah, because you know that you're going to get all of these things out of
Exactly.
it to keep you present in the moment.
It's the exact formula.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I phenomenal how we think the same.
Yeah.
Because I completely get it. So you do 50 marathons in 50 days. That's still not enough.
Yep.
Nedd. So what do you decide to do? Please share it with me because I can't even read it off my paper. It's mental.
Yeah. So I finished that, and a year went by. I got pretty injured, but in the day 9 of the 50 marathons, 50 days, heard someone had run across Australia, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And there's all these ultra running worlds. Same with like boxing, or same with whatever. You've got these worlds that I've got no idea about. And if you start boxing, all of a sudden you know about all this other stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
For me, I started running to lose weight, and I felt good, and so I'm dipping my toe into this ultra running world where there's years and years and years of history in it, right?
Embedded in
and people like the records of this and this person and the holy grail of ultra running, and
all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah, and I'm like, right, guys, I'm taking on the fastest ever run across Australia, and it's like these things have been done for tens of years, right? Like 1970,
Decades.
someone did it. Mate, it was and so just this eager young 22-year-old screaming it to the world on Today's Show, I'm doing this, taking it on. I've only ever run 100K once. I'm going to run 100K a day across this country. And I think there was a lot of like... Right,
of course. Raise the eyebrows. This
course,
young, cocky 22-year-old.
Mullet, full of himself.
Give him a couple of days and he'll be on his ass.
Big time. Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks for your effort.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of money for charity.
100%.
Go and hide under your rock.
Absolutely. This is good. I said it out there. I'm in my only sponsors at the time when I said I was going to do it were Budgie Smuggler and Posy Socks. Hopped on Today's Show in my Budgie Smugglers, sitting between Carl Stefanovic and Elle. Today's Show, and go, I'm going to run across Australia in 43 days, and I'm going to raise $1 million for homelessness, because that's something I've never been homeless, but it's something
you're passionate about.
How on earth have we got homeless people?
Yeah.
That's something and I remember just like putting it out there, and that was, again, up until that point, the most nervous I'd ever been was when I said I'm going to do the 50 marathons. And then at that point in time was the most nervous I'd ever been, because again, that accountability, it's like, if you say you are who you are, you're going to have to freaking die on your sword by doing this.
Exactly. You're putting your shield out there. You're going to have to lay on it now.
Oh, mate.
And once you put it out there, it's
mate, that gets
like
me.
That.
Yeah.
So you put yourself out there. You go on go on TV shows. You're going to talk me through when you first realised, wow, this side of life is raw.
It's funny when you're not to the height of what people kind of put you in when you're on the way up, especially here in Australia. They're like, go for it, mate. You do your thing. This is awesome. You're not threatening their position. So it's it's all good. Go, matey. We're all for you. You're amazing. Soon as you do it, and then you say you're doing something else, you are. Hey, get back to where
they want to pull you back.
Be
down.
you, but don't be that you. You know what I mean? Be who you are, but don't be who you are. Come back down. For me, it was very easy prior to now, in that it would just be a block and delete, because anyone willing to have a say on anything, it's like block and delete. See, mate. I used to use it as fuel. I'm not going to lie. I used to put it up on my wall, say this person said this. Wake up in the morning, look at it. Go to sleep, look at it. And then I went, that's not enough. That's not enough to get me through this training block. That's not enough to get me through those times where I haven't slept for 4 freaking weeks, more than an hour a night. You know what that is? That's that being someone with integrity. Being that person of your word. That's what's going to get you through that fucking another 100K a day. And so now it's like
100K a day.
Yeah. And so, I put it out there, ended up getting sponsors, got to the start line in Cottesloe, which is 4,000K from here.
And how do you train for that? Not physically so much, but mentally.
You've almost got to be in a vault. Like, you've got to put yourself in this kind of little, and anyone in that world must be playing a role. Anyone that isn't, out. Just like sole focus. And then the other thing is, in that lead up, shit's going to happen. You're going to get injured, all these things. One thing I really held, like, I keep saying this personal word, but I would have these things where it's like, if I thought of an ice bath, and this was prior to ice bath being a super big fad, if I thought of an ice bath, I had to go hop in it. So I'd wake up at 11:30 at night, think about the ice bath, and I go, fuck me. I have to go downstairs, hop in the ice bath, go back up, because that was the thing I'd made. Even to the point of like a takeaway coffee cup. I made a decision to never have a takeaway coffee cup. And so no matter the scenario I was in, I always had to have a dining cup. And so just to that little, because you said you're going to do it, don't let that slip, because when you let that slip, you're going to let these things slip down the line.
Take me through the first day that you start this run from Perth to Bondi Beach.
Yep.
You've got this mammoth task ahead of you. You wake up. What's the first thing you do? What's going through your head?
I didn't sleep at all the night before, because I was just
didn't.
like, just get me there. Just get me started.
Yeah.
And I remember I drove the van down with Dad and my team in there and just blasted AC/DC.
Yeah.
Back in black, baby.
Yeah.
Just like heading down this thing at 4 a.m. And I told anyone who wanted to come down 4:45, I'll be off. I didn't want to speak to any media. I just wanted to get there, feel it, enjoy it. And then, got down there and there was probably like 30, 40 people at 4:45 in the morning. I was like, this is pretty special. I never had any intention of doing this wanting to become someone or wanting to, somewhat be known. It was only ever to live, give, and get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's always been my thing. And so whatever came of it was just going to come of it. And so I left. It was really, really special leaving. And then it was like, right, we're on. We're finally on. I felt free. Because for 6 freaking months.
You felt free.
Yeah. That is my absolute answer to that, is like, for 6 months I was almost caged.
Yeah.
Like a fucking lion. Yeah. Just like, let me out of this freaking hellhole. I need to start. I need to feel this pain
Release
that I've been
me.
anticipating.
Yeah, unleash me. Let me go. Let me.
I'm finally here.
Let me feel every, layer of skin. Let me feel every nerve. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then so I hit 50K and I was like, finally I'm in it. Like I'm feeling a bit of pain, bit of like, okay, we're good. We're ready to go. And then 50K, got the 100K done. Got it done pretty quick. 103K that first day.
So how long was that day for you? First day?
Roughly 11 and a half, 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I remember we finished the day and everyone was just like the team were kind of celebrating. And it was a very cowboy operation. It wasn't like we're not well oiled, right?
Yeah,
like,
you got the route.
Yeah, we know the route. We know the fuel stops and we've got enough food to last for a week. We're all good. We'll get food along the way. And then we got to the end of day one and Dad's like, oh, yeah, sweet. And Gemma and all these everyone else was like, oh, this is great. And we were still probably 40 minutes before I even got back to where we were staying the night. And I'm like, this is digging into like food time, shower time, sleeping time. And then I'm like, fuck, we better get this sorted and then it just became like exactly like that. It was like, hey guys, we've got to get this shit. Like, we need you thinking about this. We need you thinking about this.
Because you weren't as organised as it could have been, where you're saving yourself minutes, which is really important.
Which are
food,
crucial.
Recovery, rest. So as the time goes on, the days go on, are you getting more and more frustrated? Well,
not frustrated, but I knew that time was of the essence. Like my days were getting longer because I was getting more sore and I was more tired and I couldn't get as quick as I could from A to B.
And how did that affect you psychologically?
Yeah, not great because I'm very to the time.
Yeah, because rather than focusing on the task ahead, you want to focus on the task ahead and you want to hand yourself over really and go, right, this is where you need to be. Here's your food. Here's your thing. Boom, boom, because I can focus on my running.
Bang on.
So you're having
I want to think about, I'm a toddler. I want to think about how do I get from A to B?
Yeah.
Everything else should be sorted.
Right.
And that is the role of the crew.
And it wasn't.
Right? And not straight up. And then Mum got there day 3 and it was like...
Oh, so Mum was part of your crew.
Yeah, but she got there day 3. So the first 3 days were fucking chaos. And so Mum's just like leader. Mum's a fucking leader.
Yeah.
She's just rocked up and gone, righto, this is what you're doing. You're cleaning this. You're taking this. You're driving here. You're getting this... accommodation
Does
sorted.
she see that you're super frustrated? Does she see that there's
she knows
you're
me.
Distracted rather than frustrated? Does she see that you're distracted and you're in a not the headspace that you should be
my
in?
energy is getting consumed by what everyone's not doing as opposed to what I should be doing.
Absolutely.
So I'm taking up energy on other things that I should.
Your mum out of all people knows that.
Mate, she'll be there on every event I ever do.
And what were you like for the first week? Let's go back to that first. What were you like
That first week, we got 708K in that first week. And I, like, that as a small win was like, I've just run 700 kilometers in a week. I've never done that in my life. Biggest week ever was 300Ks. Had a pretty severe injury happen on day 11 on my shin. I anterior tibialis basically had tenosynovitis, so like a really bad tendonitis.
Yeah.
I could not run. Like I can deal with pain pretty well, but I just could not run.
How much pain were you in? Let's put it in perspective for the listeners here.
By this day 11, my mum was sitting there crying at the thought I had to run again because she could see the waddle and the dragging of feet and the cracking of everything. Yeah, I would wake up and I would just be like, put me out of this misery.
What gets you through it?
I'm alive.
You're alive. Gratitude.
Yeah, I think I was finally in it, and the cost I was willing to pay, the price I was willing to pay was whatever got thrown at me.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'd wake up and I kid you not, like my alarm would go off. I would not sleep, right? I'd be tossing and turning the whole fucking night. Had ice and Voltaren and Hiradoid cream all over every joint, cling wrap all over it, trying to just really get it to sweat and minimize anti-inflammation. And I would wake up in panic. Like I would be screaming and like stopping my watch, like, because that's what I was doing all day, just like pausing my watch and getting out of sight of road trains and all this. And so I'd wake up at like 2 o'clock and oh no, we have to go again. And then like, no, we got 2 hours. Okay. Wake up again, just panic because I just knew that when 4 a.m. hit, it's like shoes are on. You're experiencing another 16 hours of torture.
This is phenomenal because I say when people ask me the question, how do you succeed at an elite level? How do you succeed at the top? And I ask them one question: how much are you willing to sacrifice? Yourself, your body. How much are you willing to sacrifice will determine how high you succeed.
100%.
If you're willing to put everything on the line, and that's what I done in the military. I was willing to sacrifice my own life to get the job done, 100%. And that always got me through.
Yeah, the only time I have ever been in this conversation where I've gone back to that moment, because I reckon I've switched it off.
Yeah.
I've actually like trauma walled up.
Yeah.
Forgotten about that. The only other time I ever talked about like being in bed on day 11 and just like rolling around and seeing it's 2 a.m. and freaking out was with Goggins when I was having dinner with him and 20 other people. And everyone's trying to understand what he's saying about, because I know he doesn't talk about the actual pain he was in on, his hell weeks and all that stuff. He just talks about it, references it. I had to strap up my legs, whatever. When I was sitting there having dinner with him, I go, I can't really talk about it because most people will not understand.
They won't. Because
the only way you can agree with someone is if you've been in that fucking scenario.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you have an energy of like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And Goggins goes, you'd think we're fucking masochists if you heard what we actually went through to go through that. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. And that's the only other time I've ever brought that up.
Yeah.
I felt like I was borderline gonna die.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's the only way.
And I'd never talk about it like that ever. I've never spoken on any fucking podcast like that.
No, I get it.
Because people go, hey, righto.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
And so I got this injury on like day 11. It was just like, righto, how do we fucking sort this out? Because I'm not going to stop here. We're 11 days in. Let's go. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
And then the tides turn. Like, it's like the world's going, you're not going to get this done. You're not going to get this done. And you're like, yeah, I am. Back me up against the wall.
Yeah.
I am the motherfucking storm. Let's go.
It's the pain barrier, right? Once you get through the pain barriers, and there would have been multiple pain barriers that you would experience, once you get past that threshold of that pain barrier where your body can't experience any more pain, but it's not broken, then it goes back to, you're getting a new lease of life.
Yeah.
So after these injuries, you get through, and how many days, mate, does it take you to complete this? And talk me through the moment that you arrive at Bondi Beach. Just put me in your headspace.
I also had some of the most amazing moments out there as well. Like it wasn't all just hell on earth, right? It was also like, this is, I get to spend this time with my parents that I never get to do. I get to spend low moments with some of friendships that I'll never ever be able to match, right? Like we've gone through a moment of time together that'll be a core memory for the rest of our lives. And that's what I want to do, is make those. That's all I want to do in this life, just make those moments. And so, yeah, we get through all this and it's starting to catch on. Like, I can tell it's starting to catch on. I'm just getting told people are talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't even till like the second last day that our Prime Minister commented, I don't know if it was him or the person who runs his page, but that was kind of what was going on. Like, every, man and their dog who's someone here in Australia was commenting on my post, and I was like, oh, there's like people talking about this. Mm-hmm. And then that final day we're running in, and I was probably 10K from Bondi, and there's 2 helicopters above me, Channel 7, Channel 9. I get to 5K from Bondi Beach, and there's 2 police cars stopping the road. No one shuts down Bondi Beach. Like, you don't shut down Bondi Beach.
Yeah, I know.
And I've rocked up.
And
and I was like, what the hell? Like, oh my God. And then, mate, every single car heading east was heading to Bondi to watch me come in. I remember walking past, like, this is the biggest moment ever in my life at this point, right? I remember walking past this little old lady carrying her shopping bags back to her car, wherever she was going.
Love that.
Yeah. And I'm going, wow. Like, this for me is but life goes on. Mm. And regardless of what I think of this moment, in a day's time, week's time, month's time, no one's going to give a shit. And that's all you can do.
Life goes on.
Yeah, life goes on. Sun goes up, sun goes down. Just enjoy.
Yeah.
Just make the most of it. Feel as much as you can feel. And I remember just being like, it's not that, like, you're not that important. Like, this isn't. Just bring yourself down, enjoy it, try and bottle it, try and feel it all. But remember, this is just a moment in time. That's all it is. It's not, you're not more special than anyone.
Yeah.
You're not more special than anyone who's homeless or anyone who's got
that old lady that's carrying her shopping. Yeah.
We're all the same. Got to top Bondi Beach. Coppers channel through. They go, is he good to go? Yeah, he's good to go. I went, no worries. Run down, got a full-blown police escort down Bondi Beach, and I saw the promenade. Not a single soul on the beach, on the sand.
Yeah.
Promenade just chocker. Like, I've never seen it. Yeah, like 8 deep the whole way, whole promenade. And I remember just like going, whoa, you don't deserve this. Straight, that was my initial thought. I was like, you do not deserve this. This is for people who do amazing things. This is for, and I went, fuck that. We're all amazing people.
Yeah.
We all have the ability to do these things. Go and just lap it up. And I saw a mate of mine. I was just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Just
exactly,
like scream, guttural scream. Yeah. And then just felt it. Just come on.
In the moment.
Yeah. Like, nothing will get you like that.
No.
And like, again, it's talking about that period of time and the things I had to endure in order to get there. Bondi wouldn't have been the same if it took me a week to get there and I didn't endure anything. It was so bliss and pure and everything. Like, that, people who would have had an opinion of me when they were there in Bondi were just screaming. Like, they just felt so a part of it. Everyone just felt like everyone was going for the one football team.
Yeah.
There was no opposing teams. It was just like, he's done it. He's done it.
Yeah.
And all I could see was mum, dad, my physio, my photographer, my girlfriend at the time, all at that, who were the only people on that journey with me. All I could see was them.
Wow.
Of the 10,000 people around me.
Yeah, just homed in.
Yeah, it was like, we've done it.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've done it. I love that.
Yeah. And then we, it was all a blur from there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like go what and every news thing, and got to the top of the lifesaving club, and I just sat in the room for 30 minutes, just like hiding. Just like watching the people disperse back into their life. Me just like, there was no phone service. There was that many people there.
It was done. It was just like...
Yeah, and it was like, life goes on.
Wow, like a time lapse, and you're just there, and it's like...
Mate, this is crazy. I'm feeling so many things again.
And it's empty, and you leave.
It's just done. And, they might talk about it for a week. And when they see me, they might reference it. But it's done. And so... naturally, as humans, you go, well, nothing's going to feel like that until you do that again.
How's it changed your life from that moment onwards?
It changed it to what it was always meant to be, in my opinion.
Which is?
And I can tell you that because I've been able to talk like this to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a purpose as inspiration or whatever it may be, but I know I am here to live, give, and get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so if I can get people to do that,
yeah,
live, give, and get uncomfortable. If I can be that person to do that for people,
Give them a little
Yeah.
hope of inspiration,
Yeah.
a little seed that they can put in and become a better version of who they are.
Absolutely. Like they're mid-run going, fucking Nedd can do that, I'll do this.
Yeah, 100%.
And then-
completely get that.
Yeah, and I don't, like, I'm just living. I'm as you said, I'm 25. I'm just trying to wring that towel dry.
Well, you're certainly doing that, mate. You are certainly wringing it dry.
Yeah.
And before we finish up and wrap up, one thing that's really, really jumped out at me is gratitude. You seem like you're grateful for absolutely everything, everyone, and every moment and movement that happens. How important is gratitude in your life?
Yeah, it's essential.
You wake
Absolutely
up,
essential.
take that breath. I'm still alive. I'm
Yeah.
still here. I'm still moving.
Yeah, I get, because I do a lot of work with homelessness, I often get, like, I'll get, the odd negative Nancy about, how good is living. Like, I'll say it, I reckon I say it 4 times a week on my social media, like, how good is living.
I love it.
What a time
I
to
look
be
forward
alive.
to waking up. I look forward to realising that. I love it.
If you can choose to be negative, why not choose to be positive?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, if your behavior is a choice, why are you choosing one that's going to bring other people down?
Yep.
Your ability is to change the way, like, if you have the ability to change the trajectory of your day just by choosing to show up in a certain way, why not choose the best way?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, last question, because I know we've got to wrap up and I don't want to wrap up, but what's next for Nedd Brockmann?
Yeah. This is the first time I've said it on anything that's going to go out. So I'm running 1,000 miles in 10 days around a track in October.
Around a track?
403 laps of a track a day.
Talk about mixing it up and keeping it spicy and wow.
161K a day for 10 days.
That's
so the
phenomenal.
record currently as it stands for 1,000 miles is 10 days, 10 hours.
So, of course,
That's what we're going for.
you're going out for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Nedd. That was a stupid question to even ask, Nedd. Of course you're going out on that, mate. Well, listen, I'm excited for what's going to happen next. You're 25 years old, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep running. Keep moving.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers,
I appreciate
mate.
it so much.
Cheers. Thanks so much for joining me on Headgame. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our incredible stories. And leave me a review wherever you're listening. I'm Middleton. Catch you again next time.